Now declaring our fourth action.
Woo!
Yeah.
You get a bonus round.
Yeah, it's a bonus round. This is our round table.
Awesome.
So basically, this is where we
bonus
just
round table.
bonus round table. So
Yeah.
this is where we just talk about ourselves,
Whatever.
about the game, what we think, our opinions, out of character, just having fun at the table.
Just
Okay.
having tons of fun. And we want to hear
Yeah.
from you guys too. So, if you have questions or comments or things like that, hit us up on the Discord or send
Get
us
on
an
there.
email.
Start typing.
Or, on Patreon, you can be a free member of Patreon and send messages in the chat there too.
There's an option. Yeah.
Tell us what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Us do something wrong? Like
That's just
7
Inara.
times.
like 7 times, like guidance pass it. Oh my gosh! Like you got to start. No, don't get to start with the positive. Emily's gonna pick on me right away. She's exactly right.
I was about to say, what's your favorite thing so far in the game? But apparently it's guidance. Go.
So let's start back real quick. So I know, although it may not look like it, I think Brooke and Emily have had experience with Pathfinder, and Jeremy, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
How about you, Stacy?
Brook DM'd a Pathfinder 1 game
Yes.
for a wee bit. And
Still going on, by the way.
Yeah.
A wee bit being like 3 or
3
4 years.
So like
Yeah,
five,
but we
5
played.
sessions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we played like once every other month. But yeah, I had a fighter in there, and that character is just a garbage goblin of a character. So much fun to play.
She is tons of fun with character in the first edition Pathfinder campaign.
So is
Yeah,
it
but it was all
goblin?
first. What's that?
There's no goblins in the first.
No.
Yeah.
She was a human. No, it's just the way I would explain this character.
So,
to
so
sum
you're
up the
saying all
personality.
goblins are just garbage?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm
Man.
saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought Fawin was a racist.
But that gave you many times are in the DM's chair, Stacy. But in that particular time, you got to be a character. So.
Yeah, I got to be a player, and I took all of the bad ideas I've had from NPCs over the years, mushed them together, and Nashrin popped out. And that's where my character came from that other game.
So we've all had exposure to the world of Galarian.
First edition.
Not me. This is my first game.
Oh, yeah, all of us, but Hal. So Hal.
That's right.
He is a Pathfinder virgin.
What's
Or
the
was.
thing? What's the thing about Galarian that like lore or ancestries or whatever? What's the thing that you like the most so far?
So I'm still absorbing it, and obviously I've been trying to focus more on the campaign area, but the history is really interesting, and the way they handle deities, and I don't know, to me it's like that whole doomsday clock that's just ticking away at the center of the earth.
Yeah.
The center of the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean by? I know what you mean, but what do you mean by doomsday
Yeah, it's
clock
for
at the
our
center of the
listeners.
planet?
Well, since you can probably explain it better than I will let you. Because I would probably, I would mangle it, and then everybody would be mad in the Discord going, "What a moron!"
No, not at all. So, if you've listened to any of the intro music, you know that Galarian is a world of complex complexities, right? Third planet from the star, that wonderful stuff, very Earth-like. But in the lore, the gods created Galarian. It's a prison. And in the center of Galarian is Rovagug, which is this like incredible, as chaotic evil as you can get. Like
Force of destruction.
He just wants to watch the universe burn, and
He is as close to Cthulhu as this world has.
Yes. And so Galarian is actually a prison that Rovagug is at the center of. And then all these other, species and ancestors and life is atop it.
Yep.
Yeah, and elves are like this.
By space aliens, I tells you.
They're pretty much
They
they're
are.
pretty much aliens. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're
gnomes aren't either, right?
Gnomes are from the Fae
First world,
from the
yeah.
first world, which
Yeah.
is like the Fae world. And
Yeah.
so gnomes are from imaginary land. Elves are from outer space,
Yep.
and everybody else is just stuck here.
And where did hobgoblins come from?
Hobgoblins
Oh.
were created by some mad
They were
wizard.
an oopsie.
Yeah, no, they weren't an oopsie. They were created as a weapon against elves,
Yeah.
which is why they hate magic so much.
Yeah.
They call all magic elf magic, and so they're purposely created from goblins and elves mixed together, kind of like some what's the word? The Tolkien kind of stuff.
Yeah, the Uruk-hai.
So
kind
they're
of
a mix
Uruk-hai.
of goblin. They're a gelf.
Yes, they're gelflings. They're gelflings. Love it.
We are nerds.
Yeah.
Gelfling. So yeah, it's and then it's a different take on things. Like goblins have these they're short little things that are football shaped heads full of teeth.
Yeah.
And they're not quite as naturally evil like if you play Dungeons and Dragons, like the Dungeons and Dragons world,
They used to be.
They used to be in
first
first edition.
edition. And then they
First edition
retconned it.
Pathfinder, they were like they were more like on the goofy spectrum than they were like the
goofy
chaotic
goblin.
evil. Yeah, the goblins were.
They're the fun-loving evil.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. They did things that you might consider evil, but a lot of times it was playful. They just don't see like harming things in the same way. But now in Pathfinder 2e, they've become more incorporated in normal society. Now that their player characters are more common, they're very different. Same thing with hobgoblins. I mean, they were super ultra warlike, and they're slowly drifting away from that nature as they have their own civilizations. So
And I think
it's
in
really
the lore,
neat.
they kind of that's the whole outcome of the Goblin Blood Wars. It was just so brutal, so bloody, killed off so many of them that it finally drove into their brains that they had to make some changes. At least some of them, anyway.
Yep. Some.
Yep.
There's still so much infighting for vying for power.
Yep.
They haven't got that out of their system yet.
But that's
if
for
they
humans
will.
too.
Is there something about hobgoblin? Like what you guys, Hal and Jeremy, how did you decide to do them as your species?
What were you
as
thinking?
your ancestry?
I don't know.
I mean,
I
the
think
DM
more
wants
the
to know,
lighthearted,
why would you do this to me?
almost. Yeah, exactly. the lighthearted character. I think just the, you don't have to worry about the future. You just kind of do your thing. You go with the flow. It just kind of appealed to me for that first character, and it's a new player character for everybody, and so I thought that would just be kind of fun to explore and to see if we can't take something. And not necessarily continue, as the campaign goes on, not necessarily continue just that, this is a stereotypical goblin. Now, I mean, Plame obviously is a little flighty and he has fun sometimes, but, hopefully as the campaign develops, there'll be some nuances to that.
And you broke the mold with that too a little bit, just with him being from the circus. Like he's not automatically petrified of horses or dogs.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, probably from the time, I guess he was about 3 or 4, that was, almost 17 years that he was in the circus, and, learning from the acrobats and learning from, the shysters and the
Schmindricks.
That's right. The fortune tellers, the quote unquote, the carnies.
If
lots of
people
fun.
if people haven't gotten to it
People
yet,
as carny folk.
if people haven't gotten to it yet, in episode 8, is it 8 or 9, with the rafters and the batwing?
8. That was 8.
Yeah. There's a fantastic moment that his circus mayhem comes back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember sitting there going like, where are you going with this, Hal? What? Why are you doing this to me?
And to be fair, I honestly thought it would work. This is.
I believe you honestly thought it would work.
Yeah, this is red dirt, right? We're in Oklahoma, and I think like many people who grew up in Oklahoma, particularly rural Oklahoma, at some point in time in your life, you climbed up on the roof with a trash bag.
Yeah.
Yes, or a bed sheet thinking you're going to parachute.
I've never done that, so I don't know about
Oh, you youngsters! Go.
So you're missing out.
Yeah.
I think I was just parented well.
That might be true.
Right,
So,
yeah.
Emily, if you don't mind sharing, obviously you're different than a few of the other folks around the table.
In what way?
Your hair's longer.
You haven't jumped off the roof.
You haven't jumped off the roof. You were parented well. How did you first get into role play stuff?
Yeah.
My dad is just like you guys, so I kind of followed in his footsteps a little bit.
That's awesome. Started with what edition of D&D? Was it D&D?
We started with first edition.
Awesome.
Which is crazy. I believe it was for my best friend's birthday.
Yeah.
She wanted to play D&D, so we all got around the table, and her dad DM'd for us, and it was a first edition game, and I played a magic user in first edition as my first game ever.
So you got to do one thing.
So I pretty much did nothing. Yeah.
No, you got to run from everything because you got like 3 hit points.
But yeah, that was my first experience, and I still enjoyed it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So then was the Pathfinder campaign that we have, the first edition Pathfinder, was that the kind of the next system you were exposed to, or were there like things in between? Like Marvel Universe gaming or anything like that?
No, I mean, I think that was the first. We did some 5th edition too, occasionally.
Yeah.
But, because I remember when we were like 16, 17, we got together a group of friends and we all played 5th edition.
Cool.
And my best friend Jessica was the DM of that one.
Awesome.
So, but that one didn't last too long.
Yeah.
It was just a short little thing that we did.
One off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, do you think that first edition magic user, one spell in the spell book, does that affect the fact that, like, how did you come to play Inara then?
Right.
You know,
no,
he's like,
I
want to smash things and be involved in every action, or what?
I just wanted to make a fun character. I'm not going to lie, a lot of her character idea is kind of shaped around a character from Arcane, League of Legends, Vi. That's where I shaped a lot of her character from.
That explains the hair.
Gosh, but you've brought her to life so well.
I mean, it's not exactly. She's a lot goofier.
Yes, much more happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
I think. Much more fun.
But that's where I got the idea from. And I think only Stacy knows this, but a lot of her background is relatively similar to that too.
Interesting.
So we're going
we
to
don't know
see
much
some
about
interesting things happen.
Yeah, we don't know
Does she have a background?
where she comes from.
We've seen a little bit of, like we said, Plame in the circus, right? We had the circus Fawin Plame flashback, like episode 2 or 3.
And that was weird.
Turns out he's a fortune teller.
Yeah, right. I mean, and up until then, that's, if you were to go into a fortune teller today, that would be the experience you would have had, right?
Yeah,
Probing questions and wide open questions and answers that kind of
Dubious answers,
know, that you can interpret in multiple ways so people can hear what they want to hear. But in this one, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, yeah. There was something that stepped in and had a special effect on the process.
Yep.
I don't know who my favorite character is. I mean, because I love Plame, Inara. How did she come up with a 7 intelligence? Like, oh my gosh.
I think it's 8 technically. I thought it was 7, but it is 8.
Okay. I'd like to think she was inspired by my fighter.
Yeah.
She and Nazrin do have some things in common.
I mean, I figured I'd just go with the standard stupid barbarian trope,
Yeah.
Strong, but not very smart, so.
Strong silent type. Well, not silent. Strong drunken type.
She hits the ground running in episode 1 with you just episode 1 and drinking at the bar. It's awesome.
Talking about, was it you kicked a guy and after he shit himself? The first episode.
Stabbed the guy so much that and at that moment we were like, this is going to be a little bit different than Red Dirt D&D.
A little bit of an edge on this one.
I do it for the kids.
You did. Left foot, right foot, stab. Left foot, right foot, stab. Hal was like, or maybe it was Stacy, it's way to
training child soldiers, yes.
Which, no spoilers, but training child soldiers, be something familiar to several people in the party.
So, Brook.
Yes.
What's the big deal with Fawin?
The big deal with Fawin is
why is she such a socialite?
Socialite.
Yeah. I would like to. It seems
aristocrat.
It seems like other people at the table kind of had a vision and a plan for their character. Like Inara is just this fun-loving party girl, but also
with a sword.
But then this secret compassion that you have. Like you help people.
She loves evil things.
Yeah,
And dogs.
And Plame is just he's a goblin, but then he has also kind of this twist
complexity
about
to him,
himself.
yeah.
He's a very charismatic goblin, and good with.
He's so pretty. He's the
That
pretty
too.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up very soon, probably like episode 10 or 11, we find out some things about Boddy.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that.
Spoiler,
I get with a great backstory and plan. Fawin, Brook, was not going to have Fawin be basically a racist.
She's racist.
I mean, like, you know, she's
Ancestrist.
ancestress, yes.
Ancestress. She's absolutely the most racist character.
And these things start, like this attitude
I love it.
starts coming out, especially toward Plame in the first episodes, where she's just like, you know, doesn't even know his name. I mean, knows it, but just calls him Goblin for a long time. And it just like, and then she meets Boddy, and it's the same way. She sees Inara at the bar. She's like, oh my God, finally someone like me. And it just, everything that comes out of her mouth is just like, do you hear what you're saying? And
It's obvious she's been insulated by like whatever privilege she's had. As an aristocrat, and she sees the world through these lenses that are just based on stereotypes and tropes, and she feels confident in saying that because this is what happens when you get stuck in an insular group. You think, well, everybody knows that.
Everybody knows
I'm not saying anything rude. I'm just saying the truth.
Yeah.
She's ignorant of the world, but she's very confident in that ignorance.
Right? I mean, all Okies still ride a horse to work, right?
That is exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
You're riding carriage, right?
So it's a fun. I think it's a very fun you call it a flaws of a character.
Yeah.
Because it leads into good storytelling. I think.
Well,
And
I
fun
think
storytelling.
you have to have flaws to have good storytelling.
Yeah.
This
You
is
can't
very
have
true.
an ideal paragon character and just have that fun
The
storytelling.
The characters need to have gaps in their knowledge. They can't be omniscient and omnipotent. Couldn't think of the word.
Yeah.
Like me, I can't think of words.
Yes, that is
Yeah. So yeah, it's really good. I think it's great for the character development.
As it happened, I really worried. I truly did. I was like, oh my gosh, is this going to put people off? Are they going to be like, oh my God, that character, I hate her so much? Luckily, not so much in the fan reaction we've seen from you guys out there.
I think Mesmer helps you.
No, I'm pretty sure she's the most hated character in the forums, but that's fine. I like it. Yeah. And Boddy plays off of that quite a bit. Like he pokes her with it because he knows what she thinks of him. He sees that kind of judgment.
Yeah.
That's what he's expecting everywhere he goes. Because he's probably in his backstory, he's gotten that.
Yeah.
He's gotten that knee-jerk reaction, like, oh, Hobgoblin, bad, war, death.
Yes.
Because the blood wars are just past.
Yeah.
You know, it's this rings really true in a lot of their ears. Like when they hear Hobgoblin, you know, it's danger.
Yeah, that's mercenary.
Yep.
That's
Or exploitation. So the problem with being like that's why you're going to see the way Boddy treats goblins is because hobgoblins treated regular goblins very poorly. Hobgoblins treated goblins very poorly because they thought they were superior and they were upper level of the army. The goblins were the the shock troops and just the fodder.
And for the people who
meat for the
are new to
grinder.
Pathfinder, there's more than one kind of hobgoblin.
Yes.
There's the big, tall warrior types, but even in that hobgoblin side, there's also like a half-size hobgoblin.
Yep. There's like this trail of them.
Yeah.
Oh, wild.
And
yeah.
they
There's
were
a whole splue of goblinoids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those,
Ugh.
what do they call it? The
Runt sages, I think, or like that.
something
Or,
hobgoblin. But anyway,
They're more goblin-y.
Yeah, their
Yeah.
job was to intimidate and lead the goblin
goblins.
tribes.
Yeah, I think
I
think there are runt sages. I think it's the name. I can't remember. I have to look it up
Yeah.
though.
But their job was to, they used goblins as fodder, frontline fodder.
Yep.
Oh.
And they were the ones who were in charge of those
They were the
groups.
taskmasters.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah, one thing about Paizo, they are not afraid to put the ugly, dirty, like realism into
Yeah.
their game.
Oh yeah.
In other podcasts I've listened to,
You
it's
got-
like at the forefront of the Paizo generated content. It's like, oh, you want some strife? Racial strife.
Yeah.
Orcs versus humans, goblins versus
Yeah, they
elves.
they got racial conflicts, they got slavery, they've got
Mm-hmm.
oppression, they've got economic exploitation. The Aspis Consortium.
Yes. Oh my gosh, those guys. Oh.
Those guys are they're evil capitalism incarnate.
Yeah,
It's-
and around the table, do what is comfy with your table, right?
Oh, yeah,
and you
definitely.
don't have to deep dive into details and stuff, but you got to have conflict.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have to have conflict. You're right, Brook. That's a good point. Always make sure what you're doing in your game. Anybody out there that's gaming on a DM out there, talk to your party, see what the players are comfortable with, what they're not comfortable with. Mm-hmm. If they're like, man, this is a hard line, don't do that, then don't do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Session 0 is a good time to figure out, hey, listen, what are you cool with? I'm thinking about doing this in the campaign. Would that bother you? And if you know somebody that has some kind of like history that might lean toward that, talk to them about it first.
And if anyone's not familiar with that term, Session 0, we did not have we had one. We did not record one.
Right.
But it's a kind of set down, discuss the campaign, discuss your characters, just so everybody's sort of all on the same foot when they get started.
Yeah. Building the party, building the conception of the world.
It also helps if not everyone comes out with a 3 hit point magic user in the party. You're like, hey, we might need a fighter in here.
So that actually does bring up an interesting point about our party.
Yeah, where's the healers?
We did a lot of conversation about that. So we don't have a dedicated healer.
No.
We can see some of the effects later on.
Yeah, you guys have been suffering from it.
Yeah, coming up in an episode or two, thankfully it's happened at the right time. I don't think anyone's going... I don't think a character's going to...
Don't give any punishments away. Just let it sit. Let's just say that not having a dedicated magical healer with consistent healing it makes it tricky, but it's not...
It's a lot more time consuming. It's
now,
10 minutes every time you heal someone.
Boddy is the healer of the party.
Yeah,
for sure.
But he's not good at it. So
I disagree. He's good at it. It's just that non-magical healing just can't keep up with the divine
it's his
stuff.
character flaw.
As the person who built Boddy, he is...
You're a bodybuilder?
I'm a bodybuilder. I don't have any points in wisdom, which is the key stat for medicine. So he only has the train bonus, which is +3 because he's +2 for being trained and +1 for his level. So it'll go up as he if he ever makes it to level. Yeah. By the way, geez, why are we still level 1?
I know.
What
right?
the
God, you guys.
I know we fought like
slacker. Get some XP, man.
It's only been 1 day. We're within the same day.
Ouch.
Oh, it is.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's only been one. Oh my gosh, the first.
Yeah.
Maybe when we wake up.
It's only been 1 day.
Yeah. No. The Call of Heroes was right after lunch.
Yeah.
Then you guys went into the North Tower, the keep, or the North Building of the keep, and I think you left just before sundown. And I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but so this was all 1 day.
We're still on the first day.
Yeah.
So out of that first day, what was everyone's maybe most enjoyable or favorite moment?
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
That's a tough one.
that's a great one.
How should we go around the table? I don't know. I have to think about that. You guys go first.
Well, I'll start since I asked the question. So there's a couple actually. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to say there's a few. I really liked the whole right before we went in the whole thing, and Inara's over there training the kids. Step, step, stab, right, left, stab, and Plame's over juggling, and Inara's or Fawin's like looking, going, what in the? And then Boddy's in the background again, going, what am I getting myself into? So I thought that was fun. And quite honestly, it was probably the grossest moment. It's, Inara and they're getting bit by the goblin dog disease. It's like, wait a minute, she's
got scabies. She got the... Go ahead.
No, I actually had to... Stacy did such a good job with his regurgitation noises that I actually had to edit them down to just little clips, because in listening to them, they were making me nauseous. And I was like, if I put that out there in the world...
You're going to make somebody sick.
Someone who's sensitive is going to get sick. But it was just everywhere.
Yeah. She got the mange. She got the mange bad.
Yep, almost lost an arm.
Yeah.
Do not pet goblin dogs. That's what we learned today. Yeah, it's an important lesson.
Some of my favorite moments have been the interactions between Inara and Fawin.
Which of you is which again?
Well, we can never get the name right.
Yeah, we edit this out, but behind the scenes. But yeah, we're constantly calling them
around
by
episode
names.
6 or so. My brain just left my body, and I kept calling Fawin Inara, and it was just like.
That's okay. You also keep calling Inara Fawin.
Who am I? So
90% of our editing for this show is when someone gets Inara's name wrong.
Yeah.
we all want to be Inara.
Yeah. Or uses
It's just so much fun.
calling Fawin Inara.
But when we have these interactions,
Yeah,
we're saying,
they're so different in terms of their character, but I think it's just funny. And I also love Wargy. In character and out of character, he is my favorite. She is my favorite.
Yep.
Evil Wargy. He's the cutest, fuzziest evil you ever saw.
And some of the outtakes that led to it, the turtle and Boddy, like, we should offer this up as a sacrifice.
I think the turtle fight was my favorite moment because we didn't murder hobo that turtle.
True.
You murder hoboed yourselves.
She repeatedly stabbed herself on his spikes.
Yeah.
What, 2-3 times?
I think when Stacy had it like wave a flag of surrender and then toss some gold at us, like, go away.
Lenny, you're going to kill yourselves.
Stop. I don't want to make this happen. Because they didn't take any.
The GM is like, it's going to be a TPK and he hasn't even hit you yet.
It barely even. I think Inara hurt herself more in it than it hurt her.
Y'all remember
She had bleed damage. She was taking it every round.
What's that?
And y'all remember the title of the episode, right?
What was that one?
Our own
Worst
enemy.
Worst enemy.
Yes.
So we watched that. We watched it with my wife, or listened to it with my wife, and so I said, "So what do you think about the turtle or the title?" And she's like, "Oh, I get it."
I have to step away to get the food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but we're recording this at my house.
Yeah.
And so I can't help myself but be like the Betty homemaker and make all this food. So
He is a generous host.
Yes.
You are a generous host.
He's the body homemaker.
Which, talking about that, reminds me again of another kind of favorite. Mentally I'm changing my list all the time. When Inara decides she's going to flip the turtle. Right? It's like a 2,000-pound turtle, and she's like, I'm going to try to flip it. And we're just all like, what?
Did you think this through?
I can just see that, though.
You kind of want to see it happen.
I want to see if she can do it.
That's the 8 intelligence at work.
Hog smash.
Yep. Man, I think my favorite episodes, I know Hal said moments, but I think my favorite episodes so far have been the Warg episode, because it has such a blend of like dun 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 with kind of the moments like when Fawin takes Wargy and throws him into another room, and then Inara has to get into her face.
And she didn't just half-ass it either.
No.
She got into your face.
Yeah. Jeremy's over there. He just got crit, I think, by the ward. Yeah. And Inara takes a moment to be like, listen.
He's like, I'm dying. I'm dying.
Boddy has been not doing too well. Seems to die almost every combat.
He is a crit magnet.
I think in that one he was like, I see where I rank now.
Below the board. That would be correct, sir.
And the other one that I really, really love, which is coming up for folks, is episode 9. Episode 9 is just great. I can't talk about it yet.
There's a lot of Plame funness.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of Plame. Plame funness. That's a good way to say that, Stacy. So
just good Plame fun.
Very good. Keep talking about favorite episodes and stuff, but if you don't have one, Stacy, I've got a question for you. So.
My actual favorite is probably the one that didn't get recorded, our trial session when we were trying out.
Oh yeah,
because we did a trial session just to try out the rules because none of us had done second edition, and we go out. And it's the party running into a small band of bandits. Like, was it 5-6 bandits?
Right.
And right off the bat, Boddy.
Wargy's over there in something. He's chewing stuff up. I don't
God, Wargy. Right off the bat, I don't know why Boddy's like, do I know any of them?
Yes, there's a secret backstory thing, kind of.
Yeah. And I was just riffing. And what was the name? I
can't remember. I can't remember the names.
was it Travis or something?
Something. It's like everyday names.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, this is Travis. You knew him from your mercenary days. Travis was kind of a You're like, oh yeah, I hate that guy. And everyone just ran with it. They're like, yeah, Travis, screw Travis. Because I was just BSing off the top of my head, and everyone was just running with it. Like, all right, let's see where this goes.
I think, and I want to make it clear because maybe some people might misunderstand, but we don't design this to be a slapstick. We didn't go into it with designs for it to be super funny or whatever. Right? This was going to be a campaign, and it's just this is the way we play around the table. And how we interact with each other.
Definitely, and in fact, it became part of our little descriptor for the podcast. We want to grab the adventure and the fun for everybody until you guys are having your next gaming session, right? Let us be your addict. Let us be your hit. When you need something to get you through. So.
We're not professional actors. We're not like anything. This is just us.
We're barely
bunch of gamers. What's that again?
So we're barely game players.
Yeah.
We just enjoy each other's company and like to blow things up together or slice and dice. And
I think a lot of us have the same kind of experiences, which lead to just random references to sci-fi or classic D&D or whatever. Yeah. I mean,
BAUSs.
Yeah.
That's coming up. That's coming up. Sorry.
Oh yes.
Gamera. Spoilers. So many spoilers.
Yes. The Godzilla. Gamera.
Gamera.
Yeah, but I think we all want to have the goofy.
It's more of like a Mario thing, I think.
Bowser. The turtle's name was Bowser.
Yeah, the turtle's name is Bowser. Big old spiky shell. We want to do the fun stuff, the serious stuff, and the crunchy stuff. All of us are pretty much on the same level there.
Yeah.
I think we play off of each other, like the mood and the situation pretty well. Yeah. Hopefully that comes across in the recordings. Yeah. We've all played quite a bit of Dungeons and Dragons or other tabletop role-playing games.
A bunch of different games, yes.
Yeah, like so Emily was talking about her first, like she has the deepest roots for someone like her age, I think I've ever known. You and
30, 32, 33.
No. Getting up there, though. Getting up there.
So,
hey, at least we can all go to the same locations now. And we don't have to leave you in the car or anything. You can come into those locations with us, right?
Or at least you can
got your ID and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've got the same mentality. Mm-hmm. I think most of the tables I've played at, we all want a mix of the goofy fun times. We're all laughing on the table and just riffing off whatever comes off the top of our head, like pop culture references. But we also want a serious story that we can get, that we feel like you're an important part of that story, and you want to feel like you're achieving something together, and that you're having some impact on a more realistic world, and it's great. I think Pathfinder 2e is a good place for that because it's a little. I feel like some of the other game systems, I won't name them, they have really worked. They've worked so hard to make it more of like a video game style game, or there's a lot of making sure that everything fits into a very like a politically correct mindset. That some of it's gotten kind of like, oh, we've got a cell phone buzzing over here. What the heck?
DM's getting a call from God.
I feel like Pathfinder lets you customize that game. The world exists in a way that you can really find your niche, like how serious, how controversial. Party at the table can really figure out what they like, and
it gets a lot more complicated because of that. I feel like, but other systems, are definitely meant for new players to get into. So I think if you're really...
Pathfinder can be a little intimidating to a...
Especially when you look at
Mathfinder.
The variety of characters, classes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do anything, anywhere, anyhow, and it gets a little confusing.
Which I'll give my little secret. I leverage heavily
Path Builder
2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just because there's just no way, even focusing on just the thief class or just goblin, there's so much that you can't just go and recall it at your fingertips. You've been digging through manuals or whatever.
Well, I mean,
but it's nice because you put it in something like that, and then you have it right there at your view. What's my hit? What's my bonus damage with this weapon? And did I remember to add in this particular trait or ability or feat that I have? So
Well, I mean, in what other system can you build a Hobgoblin fighter who uses elven magic to enhance his combat, but he also happens to be a medic?
Yeah, Boddy is a magus. Thank you very much. Don't fighter.
That's right.
Gross.
No, but see how he phrased that?
Yeah,
It worked out
yeah.
really, really well. So,
Yeah.
anything else about complexity, Emily, you were going to say?
No, I mean the rule book's pretty wordy. I will say that.
They have a lot
but
of
that's just because
thousands and thousands
there's a
of
lot of
words.
lore
Yes.
in there too.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I'm definitely not strong on the lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll
me
get
neither.
there.
It'll come.
Yeah.
I love the lore. It's what first drew me into it.
These,
where it
this
reminded
was
me so much of
made
Greyhawk.
by. This is made by old school grognards.
Something about the psychic narwhals. I just never can quite.
Yeah, I mean, these are guys who've been playing, I think, since the 80s, which I say, speaking to a group of guys who've been playing since the 80s. My God, we've gotten old.
And I think it's a good system. I think it scratches that itch of finds that spot between the really crunchy and the more flexible fun.
Yeah.
And you can make it whatever you want on your table.
You bet. We sadly we need to wrap it up, but we're going to have another one of these coming really soon.
Yes. I had a question, but I don't know if we have time for it. I was just going to say,
We'll make
what's
time.
your RPG experience? We know Emily's, everybody else, like what game systems?
I've done first edition, 5e, and Pathfinder. So I'm trying to think. I feel like I've done a couple weird one-off. We did Starfinder at one point.
Oh.
I
A weird
remember
one off of that. That
I
was
wanted to try that one.
I started with World of Darkness, actually. Werewolf the Apocalypse.
Oh,
was
yeah,
my first, it's
yeah.
a D10 based system. Really liked it. It's really heavy on role play. I never used a battle grid. Like, we didn't have squares of movement and like that. I learned how to play that at Boys State from my roommate. At the
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
I went to
awesome.
Boys State and he had the book.
Yeah,
He's like,
you did.
"You ever played this before?" I'm like, "What is it?" And I played Final Fantasy on my Super Nintendo. He's like, "This is better." And then I went into Mage of the Ascension. Had some friends that played Vampire the Masquerade. That was a really fun system. But then somebody got me playing Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition, in which I started DMing that, and then I really fell in love with 3.5.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit more balanced rule set, but it had that gigantic growth. Like they just kept on putting out more and more source books, and some of that stuff was Paizo.
Yep.
Paizo started creating a lot of content in 3.5.
Yeah, they started off making 3rd edition
Yes.
content.
Yeah, that was
that was
their-
the beginnings of Paizo.
Yeah, really. I was also playing the miniatures strategy game, and I was doing that competitively. I was number 1 in the state for a while. And when they brought in 4th edition, they got rid of that. And I was so upset with Wizards because I really enjoyed that tactical, really fun board game style, like combat. It was like Warhammer 40K that I could afford.
Yes. That is a rich man's hobby.
Yeah, and the pre-painted minis were awesome. So when 3.5 went away, when Wizards stopped supporting it, they brought in 4th edition, which also messed up all my Terry Goodkind books. Not Terry Goodkind, Ari Salvatore books.
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Like if anybody reads the Drizzt
Spell
books,
Plague and all that
yeah,
stuff.
the Spell Plague just ruined that whole concept and made things. I shouldn't say ruined. It changed it quite a bit. And then, so when that came out, I started looking at Pathfinder, and I loved it. I really liked they simplified some of the rules and expanded the options for the players. But I didn't think I'd like 2nd edition Pathfinder until I started playing it.
That 3-round action, they get
actions.
you.
It's addictive.
The 3 actions is pretty good, guys. It's pretty good. If you ain't played it, give it a try.
The other side of the table, what about you two guys?
There
What's
you
your
go.
history?
I was the 1980s red box Minster red box guy with Larry Elmore Dragon on the
Yes.
front. That was my gateway drug, and played 1st and 2nd edition until the 90s. And then I had this dumb idea that I was going to be an adult for a while and put away childish things. That was really dumb. And then about
That's no fun.
2002 or so, I heard about 3rd edition and its popularity, and I gave it a try because I wanted to grognard hate it. And I loved it. I actually loved the way you could build a character. Like 1st edition wizard, all of them are the same. But a 3rd edition wizard, oh my gosh, so many options.
The ability to have a fighter who's different.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, wizards and clerics, you could kind of... Cleric depended on the deity you picked. The wizard depended on the spell book you built.
Yeah.
But a fighter was a fighter was a fighter.
Until
You started introducing feats. And now your fighters are each different.
And those grew out of like kind of the thing I liked in 2nd edition too, with proficiencies, right? That was built. Now we're grognarding really bad. But
We've put everyone to sleep now.
yeah, but anyway, from 3rd edition, again, 4th edition Rage. Oh my gosh, how could you do this to my game? I'm gonna go play Pathfinder, and I've played some 5th edition too.
Yeah.
But how about you?
So I'm probably one of the least experienced, I think. I grew up in a very rural town, and nobody that in my school at all really played. I remember a vague memory of visiting a friend of my parents, and their son had the red box D&D.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
advanced, just regular.
Yeah, exactly.
And he tried to explain to me a little bit about what it was about, and I was like, okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, but go back outside.
I'm going to play outside.
That's right. So in college, kind of maybe like Jeremy, but it was a years or two in college. I met up with Stacy's brother and Stacy, and they introduced me. Even though the second edition was released, I think they were snobs, and so they played primarily first edition. But I think also part of that's funds to buy the books.
Yeah,
we played a lot of different mix-ups. But my first character was an Urda from Dragonlance that had fallen through a odd little time and space hole and wound up in Greyhawk, I think. Cool. Yeah, because that's one of the things I think was fun for me in those few years that we were there together. Stacy and Jason were really good at mixing and matching and coming up with game worlds that pulled from various different rule books. Sci-fi that pulls from 5 different sci-fi sources. Right? Lots of fun. It's like everybody else. Everybody goes off to work, and we still played just different kinds of games. But a lot of times it would be me and somebody else, and we'd play, BattleTech, or we'd play Harpoon, or some other
awesome.
strategy tabletop game. Yeah, and then here, so from really that first / second edition Oriental Adventures, from that era, it jumped all the way up until a 5e game with some friends back.
The dwarfs.
Yeah, the dwarf game.
The dwarf game,
Right.
That was me, you, Curtis, Stacy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Brook. Yeah.
And so we played that for a while, and then
The 4 of us.
this option happened to pop up, opportunity, and so here we are.
Yeah. So we've all played in a game together, except for Hal and Emily. Have you played together, you guys?
No.
I don't think so. I know that you guys, my dad has done games with you guys, but I don't think we have. But everyone else, we've all been in games together.
There's a Venn diagram that connects almost everybody in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great table. I love playing with you guys. It's
you
so
guys
much
are
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, but to reiterate, as Brook said, it is time to wrap it up. We got a few things we got to take care of.
There we go. The next time we get to have a fourth action, I want to ask Stacy about some tweaks you've done to NPCs.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you would say that. I've got some secret intel that you have done a couple wonderful things. So
great.
Anyway.
No wonder I'm getting crit all the time. Plus 5 against hobgoblins, hey. I wondered about that.
I guess we better go roll for initiative.
Yeah.
Roll for initiative, yeah.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.